Episode 3 of WandaVision is here, and we're going to talk about what happened in the episode and what maybe some of the things mean in terms of the greater MCU, the Marvel Universe. Let's talk WandaVision right now. Hey everybody, Dan here, and this is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to the channel. We're going to talk about WandaVision. If you are new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button below if you don't mind. I would love to have you aboard here. I'm approaching 700 subs, which is kind of cool, so I would love it if you were one of them. Other than that, please comment below. I am by no means a Marvel expert or a comic book expert, but WandaVision is one of the hugest shows, obviously, of early 2021, and I do a lot of TV reviews on my channel, so I thought, why not do some episode-by-episode breakdowns of WandaVision. And we're going to talk now about episode 3. This is going to be a spoiler type of review, so beware of that as we move forward here. Now, as far as I can tell, this is simply called episode 3. Right on Disney Plus, you've got episode 1 was called Filmed Before a Live Studio Audience. Episode 2 was called Don't Touch That Dial. And episode 3 is simply titled Episode 3. So we've been going through the decades here with this show, and now we are in the 70s, and the motif is pretty much Brady Bunch-esque. I mean, obviously there's a little bit more racy material, I guess you might say, than a typical Brady Bunch episode, but the design of the house, especially with like the stairs and the stones, is certainly Brady Bunch inspired. But you could also take maybe some That Girl or maybe even Mary Tyler Moore ideals from this episode. So the crux of the episode basically is that Wanda, who got pregnant at the very end of episode 2, and then we sort of panned from black and white into color right at the end there. So this whole episode is in color, and she is pregnant, and it's coming on fast. She just got pregnant, and 12 hours or so has passed, but the doctor that comes to see them at the beginning of the episode thinks it has been about 4 months. So they're still doing the whole laugh track thing through the first maybe 20 minutes or so of this episode as the doctor is coming and going, and Wanda and Vision are working on the nursery, and then her brand new neighbor comes over to visit, and we've seen her a little bit, I think, in the other episodes, but here she's a little bit more of a main character. Tiana Paris plays Monica Rambeau, and she is an agent of SWORD, which is the Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Division. I had to look that up because I was not familiar with that. Apparently, it's mentioned in one of the end credit scenes in one of the Thor movies. Joss Whedon created it, I guess, as far as I can tell, for the comics, but they never brought it into the MCU, really. They were talking about maybe bringing it into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then they decided not to do that. So, for whatever reason, I don't know. But Geraldine really is the name that we know Monica Rambeau by in this episode. This is how Wanda knows her, and how we as the audience know her. But according to all the research I've done, this is going to be Monica Rambeau, who you may remember Maria Rambeau from Captain Marvel. So this is her daughter, which I guess we saw the daughter then also in Captain Marvel, come to think of it, right? So obviously, again, this is all tying together, but time-wise, I'm not exactly sure what's going on yet or where we are, because we're going through the decades here in WandaVision, but the timeline has us after Endgame. So all of these events that are happening are technically happening after Endgame, even though they're sort of in their own little world. So anyway, like I said, the first 20 minutes or so is, still the laugh track stuff of the first couple of episodes, the winking and the nodding to TV shows of old, especially when she is pregnant, and Geraldine comes over, and Wanda is holding, like, a bowl of fruit in front of her belly, or holding different things in front of her belly, or standing in front of counters so that Geraldine doesn't see she's pregnant. That's a pretty classic sitcom trope, so there was a little wink and a nod to that. We did also see another fake commercial in this episode, and Hydra was involved, just like they were in the one in episode 2, the Hydra Watch. This one was Hydra Soak, which is a bubble bath product, and sort of a riff off the old 70s and 80s Calgon Take Me Away ads, for those of us that remember that. But basically, the crux of this episode, and where we're finally seeing some MCU and Avengers and Endgame type of nods, is towards the end of the episode. So she ends up having the baby, and in fact she ends up having twins. So now there's twins in the family, and Geraldine is there to kind of talk to her, comfort her, what have you. And Vision's going outside to kind of talk with the neighbors a little bit. Earlier we saw one of the neighbors, by the way, like buzzsawing the bushes supposedly, but he was actually chopping some of the wall with the ripsaw. So Vision kind of stopped him and was like, "Hey, I think you're going a little overboard there," but yet he didn't really stop sawing. So I'm not sure what that was about. But we see Catherine Hahn in this later scene as Vision goes outside. And the one neighbor who's trying to get away makes a mention to Vision that I thought was pretty important. He said he's not going to take his trip after all. His car is busted, whatever. And he goes, "Yeah, small towns, so hard to escape." And they sort of lingered on that moment for a second. And I thought, okay, well, that's probably meaningful to Vision then, because he's realizing, well, at this point, maybe I do want to escape because things are weird. My wife got pregnant less than 12 hours ago, and now she's having a baby. And in fact, she's having 2 babies now. But he goes and sort of overhears the neighbors talking, and they're sort of whispering about Geraldine, but they're not actually saying, to Vision what they're thinking. They sort of are stopping themselves in mid-sentence and whatnot. So back inside, we see Wanda and Geraldine again, and Wanda reveals, I had a twin once, Pietro, who, of course, in the movie Age of Ultron was played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'll be honest, one of my least favorite of the Marvel characters, but in any event, he ends up dying in Age of Ultron anyway, so she sort of talks about that, and Geraldine says he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? And so that is really the first, like, very bold, front and center statement regarding the MCU that we've gotten so far. And Wanda all of a sudden sort of freezes up, and she's like, "What?" Starts tearing, and what did you say? And Geraldine refuses to admit that that's what she said. And we see this sword in a little sort of necklace, charm type of thing that Wanda notices immediately. She asks her what that is. Geraldine doesn't really answer the question, and of course I didn't really know either, so I did look it up, and that's when I found out the old sword thing, sentient weapon, observation and response division, which I guess will be explained a little bit more as we go forward here. But then the very last scene, we have Geraldine basically getting not attacked I should say, but surrounded, I guess, by these, I don't know if they're Secret Service or some sort of police force that is basically arresting her, throwing her out of the town, what have you. And so what happened there? Well, we don't really know, but my guess, and the smart money I think would be on that maybe Wanda realizes, okay, well, she knows more than she probably should know, and I don't like this, and she's not being forthright with me, so she likely used her powers to basically remove her from the town. So that's all we really know at the end of this episode. I am still all in on this show, though. I think this is very, very clever. It's unlike anything Marvel has done before. I gave those first two episodes a B plus, and I'm still in line with that. I think this episode is a B plus as well. But the more we tie some things together, the more things happen in these 9 episodes. I can easily see bumping that up to an A minus or even maybe an A, depending on how everything comes together. But for now, I think everybody's doing a great job. Paul Bettany is great as Vision. He's very adept at the comedic scenes, as we saw in the first 2 episodes. And here he's a little bit more of a side character, certainly, than he was in the first couple of episodes. This is more of the Wanda Geraldine show, I guess. But Wanda mainly, I mean, she's in almost every scene of this episode. But Paul Bettany doing a great job as always. And I am very curious to see where this is going. What are your thoughts on this? What are your theories? You know, how do you think this all is going to come together? Let me know in the comments. I guess I might do these reviews every single week. I don't usually do episode by episode reviews of new shows. I do my Masked Dancer recaps, and I do my Connors reviews, which I've been doing for many years. But in terms of new content, and especially, you know, like I said, I'm not a super huge, like, you know, #1 Marvel fan or anything. I watch the movies and stuff, but you know, there's certainly more people that are adept, more so than myself, and I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. If you're out there, let me know your thoughts on where you think this is going. What do you think connects that maybe I missed from this episode 3? But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye.